How's it going? I'm back with a new review of Mst3k. Yeah, that's right. You might remember the fact that I'm a bit of a fan of the show, hence naming my YouTube channel an indie publishing house after an episode of Mst3k. So I kind of like it. And I'm very excited about the fact that we have a season 13 and a really surprising change of events. Chain of events? Let's see. For those of you who don't know, Joel announced a new Kickstarter to start a new season of the show with the returning characters from the Netflix era of the show, as well as some new hosts, and Joel would even come back if they were able to make their goals, and they blew their goals away. So we'll even this season have a Joel Returns episode, which I am just excited about. So, hey, how's this thing work? Well, they've actually started kind of their own streaming service, Gizmoplex, and and as always, it's like in-universe designed by Kinga Forrester herself, because they keep going with this really cool idea that she is the daughter of Clayton Forrester and is cashing in on nostalgia for Mst3k by doing a reboot of the show by forcing a new guy, Jonah Heston, to watch bad movies with Crow and Tom, which she has somehow shanghaied again. It's never been really explained, but I don't know. They probably weren't that hard to capture. So if you remember in the last episode of season 12, which was the Gauntlet, actually had a story arc name. Jonah was able to trick Kinga and Max into their own vault and was seemingly going to escape, but apparently that did not work. The scientists blew up the vault and also destroyed their underground lair, which is now why they've had to move into a new headquarters. And that also kind of like in-universe explains like the different surroundings, the fact that they have less characters, like their henchmen are all buried alive, maybe? I don't know. They were kind of not alive to begin with, which was the joke. So then they've kind of like rebuilt their own kind of like gizmonic ride, so you could be in Mystery Science Theater 3000, and they'll get to that later once we get to the second host of the show for this season. But yeah, we're back to form, and I gotta say, before I get started with the episode, this show was shot during, I guess, the second half of quarantine, on a smaller budget than they would have had during the Netflix era, and they've actually used it to their advantage, because it looks even more like the old show, especially the first couple of seasons, more shoestring budget than it ever did, and they've actually really turned it up as far as like being able to give it that kind of like old, out of the garage feeling. So absolutely wonderful. Less spectacle than they did. I think they did a great job with the extra budget, because it never looked too polished, but still, coming down from that, actually, I think it is more of an advantage than a disadvantage. So it's mostly Kinga and Max kind of like working their magic with a couple of clones of Pearl Forrester, who is here, and she has suddenly taken a liking to Kinga. I guess her plans worked, and now she actually gives a shit about her. Which is good, because that was kind of a sad joke at the same time. So, hey, we're back to form. So, hey, it's time for another movie, right? And the first episode of season 13 is Santo in the Treasure of Dracula. And, okay, we got, let's see, Jonah Ray as Jonah Heston, Corti Robot is Hampton Yount, Tom Servo, Baron Vaughn, and GPC is voiced again by Rebecca Hansen. And of course Kinga is Felicia Day, and Max is Patton Oswalt. He's back as well. And the premise of this movie is, okay, let me get this straight. Let me read this off. Santo is a superhero wrestler who is also a scientist. He invents a time machine in which he uses to fight Dracula. And that's an actual sentence, I said. So, this was an amazingly bizarre movie, and it really does go into like this weird kind of super culture, especially in the 60s, Santo and other Mexican wrestlers who were basically superheroes and did these fantastic, crazy movies with all these crazy shit things. And it's amazing. He shows off his time machine invention. This is a wrestler, by the way. He has a time machine invention, and he wants to try it out. He has to put someone in hypnosis. He uses the woman there, because apparently women are easy to put under, which is not a creepy thing to dwell on. Anyway, he sends her back in time, quantum leap style, apparently to another life she's had, and apparently the other life she had was Mina Harker, I guess, because we go right into the plot of Dracula, and it's not kind of like a vampire story. It is the Bram Stoker Dracula story. And she's pulled out just before she's staked at the end. And then they have to go find Dracula, who is, I guess, 2 blocks away, to prove that his invention worked. I don't know how that really would work, but okay. Like, we find Dracula's body. First off, fucking vampires exist. That's kind of like just almost as big as time travel, but okay. It has, God, and then of course we take a break from all that to wrestle, like in a 10-minute scene, and then we get back to these gangsters who want, I don't know, I've never been clear on what they exactly want from it. I guess they want the time machine, or they want, the vampire treasure. I don't know. Vampire treasure, that's right.
They want the treasure.
They want the treasure of Dracula. Who cares about the time machine or the fact that vampires exist? We have money.
Gold.
We have some gold. Oh my God. Oh, well, whatever. There's also this dude who's like a Jar Jar Binks, and he's like constantly goofy. And I forgot they do this joke with this guy, which was a joke I saw in a lot of things, like back in the day, and I completely forgot this was a stock joke. He swallows a whistle and he's boop boop boop. Thank God that doesn't go on for long. But there's some wonderful riffs in here. Let's see. Like, some of my favorite riffs were like Jonah has this when she is put into the time machine. Like Jonah says that's the coolest cremation setup I've ever seen. Like, let's see. Jonah actually has some really good bangers in this one. He says like, "Hello, I am Twilight. I am a Dracula." Let's see. He also mentions like, by the way, while she is in her old body in an old life dealing with Dracula, somehow Santo and his cohorts are watching this on the monitor. Like, what? How are you watching this? What kind of time travel science magic are you using to record this? And they're watching this whole thing. Let's see. There's this one moment where Dracula comes in to get her or the child, and the woman wakes up and Crow yells, "Take the child!" I absolutely love it. Also, this Dracula is a little goofy. He could have been goofier, but unfortunately, there's no fight scene between him and Dracula. There's no fight scene between Santo and Dracula. They don't hit each other. Santo hits another guy, this older wrestler guy, and then he has a wrestling scene where he fights his son, and they do fight some gangsters. But there's no, like, climax of Santo and Dracula fighting. I mean, what the hell? You know, movies, I know it's popular to say new movies suck and the old movies are great. No, well, new movies would have had, like, a 20-minute climax of Santo and Dracula fighting. Old movies don't really even consider that. Like, the fact that they're in the same movie is amazing. That's not enough. We need Dracula and Santo fighting, and this movie fails. It does give us some great car pull-out scenes, which makes for a decent stinger. And I want to also get to the riffs. Speaking of the riffs, There was something at least in the first half of season 1 of the Netflix seasons, where it was a little sometimes hard to make out the difference between Jonah, Baron, and Hampton. Their voices sounded very similar, and their riffs sounded kind of the same style sometimes, which made it a little harder to recognize. And they did get better as the 2 seasons went on. But now it really seems solid. You can definitely tell the differences. They have their own joke styles they go with. Baron and Hampton have very much gotten comfortable with their roles. And I don't know if it's my brain or maybe it's them or maybe a little bit of both. I can definitely just tell the difference between the actors, and I think they work together really nice, which is something I kind of felt would just happen. If you watched like the first season of Mst3k, it does take a while for Joel and the gang to kind of like get the groove of what they were doing, and it took Mike a couple episodes to kind of figure out like his riffing style and his character. So I gave them benefit of the doubt, and I'm glad I did, because even through the Netflix era, you can definitely tell them like developing it, and now we kind of see the fruits of the labor in this new season, where they actually have seemingly more control of the show, and they've also had some time to really think about it and kind of like look back on the last 2 seasons and see what they could do better. And yeah, this is a very funny episode. I enjoyed it very much. I think I will talk about the Gizmonic streaming site on a separate video, but right now I just want to talk about the episodes in hand. And this was a wonderful first episode back, and I love Mexican wrestler movies, especially when they go into horror and sci-fi. It's great. It's absolutely silly and fun. And Santo really is just a great movie. Now, they also renamed Gypsy in this episode. They don't really make a big deal out of it. They just call her GPC and just move on. And that might confuse some people. Joel made an announcement, I think in 2020 or 2021 or something like that they were renaming the character. Because Joel felt uncomfortable over the years, increasingly uncomfortable with the fact that Gypsy is a slur for Romani people, and he decided to kind of like change that. So I'm glad he did that. I don't really know if he really needed to, because this Gypsy never really felt like it was kind of playing off that. But I think the gesture is really nice. And I guess my only criticism is, they went with a Star Wars droid type of name to rename her, and I'll be honest, it would have been funnier maybe if they just went with a lady people name, which, like Tom, and I guess Crow isn't really a people name now that I think about it, but you know what I'm talking about. So, yeah, also, Rebecca's take on GPC is really good as always. She's really kind of like, built into this really character, and to be honest, I think she is the character, like more so than the previous versions. She's a little bit more maneuverable. She's a little bit more sassy and funny because she has more RAM and she's smarter now. She actually can be the person she's always kind of like suggested it was and stuff like that. So she works really good with the crew, and she dips down every so once to throw a couple of quips in there and just pull out. So no longer is she knocked down with the street, like Servo once called her. So hey, I absolutely adored this episode. I'm going to give it 5 out of 5 RAM chips. I'm going to be talking about the other episodes of Season 13 as I see them. I got to catch up. I haven't reviewed. I'm catching up on the 2 episodes. There's been 2 episodes, I think, right? There was the Beyond Atlantis and the Robot Wars.
Yes. And actually, episode 4 just premiered, and we haven't watched that yet either.
Great. I think that's Munchie or something like that.
Yes, a horrible-looking creature.
Roger Corman in the late 80s, riffing on Gremlins, doing the Gremlins thing. So, hey, that's going to be fun. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the episode. If you see it, let me know in the comments below what you thought of it, what you thought of the Santo Dracula movie, too. And, the slight changes. I think they really have improved things. I can't wait to see what we go later on, because it does look like they have some more, like, story stuff with the secret investor that's going to be helping. Anyway, you can support me, All Things Manos, at Patreon, just $1 a month. You can find me on my various social media stuff, like Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, I guess. And I think that's it. So push the button, Lindsay.